Have you been denied or cut off from long-term disability? Ask a Lawyer is here for you. Each week, experts from DisabilityRights.ca answer your questions. Visit cp24.com/askalawyer and watch Mondays at 9 p.m. on CP24.
Well, hello there, and welcome again this week to Ask a Lawyer Disability Law right here, CP24. I'm your host, John Scholes. Right there, you can read it. And joining me momentarily, the boss, the guy with all the information, the smart Sivan Tamarkin is here from DisabilityRights.ca. Want to mention off the top as well, always reach out to Sivan and his team for a free consultation, or may just be a chit-chat. You can do so. Phone number first, 1-855-821-5900. Ask at DisabilityRights.ca. Lots of stuff over the next half hour. We got to get through some phone calls, some general questions, and a main topic. 5 things you need to know if your insurance company is about to deny your LTD claim. It can get messy, but that's why we do this show. We clear out the misconceptions and all that myths about disability law, make it a lot easier for you to navigate this particular topic. But we'll get into that momentarily. But Sivan, just briefly, what do we do here each week, pal? And then we'll move on to the case of the day. What do you got going on?
John, I'm a lawyer, and my team of lawyers and I help people who are denied long-term disability claims and who are injured in a variety of ways, unfortunately, car accidents, slip and falls, each and every day. And we make sure that people understand their rights. And this is the key critical thing here. People need to understand what their rights are, because insurance companies, if they can take advantage of you, they will. And if they can deny your claim for any reason, they will. And so what we do here, John, is we dispel myths, we provide information, we try to level the playing field, or maybe even tilt it in your favor against the insurance companies. It's absolutely critical. We've been doing this for years, and I can tell you a lot of people have been thanking us, watching the show, listening to our radio programs, and just learning and educating themselves about their legal rights.
So what do you want to talk about to get us warmed up here before we move on to a phone call, pal?
A really interesting thing that happened to me on the way to the studio, actually. I received an email from a friend of mine who's on long-term disability. And he's on long-term disability because of a heart issue as well as psychological issues. He's been on long-term disability for about 1.5 years. And so on the way here, he had sent me an email telling me that the insurance company has just told him that in February of next year, so just a few months from now, he will be reaching that 2-year mark. And they want some more information from his doctors, from his employer, to assess whether or not he's going to continue getting long-term disability benefits beyond the 2-year mark. And John, you and I have talked about this a lot. Most people who are getting long-term disability for a few months, 1 year, 1.5 years, you know, they're kind of resting, they're assuming that their disability benefits will continue, and then suddenly they get this phone call or this email or this letter from the insurance company saying, we've determined that you no longer qualify for long-term disability. You've hit that 2-year mark, that's it, we're cutting off your benefits. And they have no idea what to do. They can't work, their doctors confirm that they cannot work. And so, of course, my friend is asking me, what should I do here? He's being very concerned. And I told him, look, nothing to worry about. It's a good thing you reached out to me. And this is what I tell everybody, incidentally. Reach out to me if you have that concern, if you're reaching the 2-year mark, or if you've reached the 2-year mark or approaching it and the insurance company is giving you a hard time, if they're telling you your benefits will end. Unless you are reaching age 65, which is when most of these policies end, or unless you're able to go back to work, your benefits should continue if your doctors confirm that you cannot continue working. And so with my friend's situation, he's unable to work. He's still struggling with his heart issues and with his psychological issues. He's still undergoing treatments. And so I told him, look, we're going to help you with your forms. It's not going to cost anything, not just because he's my friend, but typically when people reach out to us, John, we give this advice for free, just like this show. But that 2-year mark is really critical. People need to understand insurance companies will often deny claims or cut off your benefits at that 2-year mark. It does not mean that your benefits end at the 2-year mark, no matter what the insurance company is telling you. If you are unable to go back to work, if your doctors confirm, your benefits ought to continue, again, unless you've reached that age that is the cutoff under the policy. So people need to understand that. And again, any questions whatsoever, reach out to me, reach out to a member of my team. It costs nothing to get this advice, to have us talk to you. This is a lot of legal knowledge, legal power, and this is what we do. And we do this across the country, John. We help people with these kinds of claims literally across the country, and we've done this for years.
There's another way to reach out as well. Weekly on the radio shows, Savannah and I and James, a member of the team, do this across the country. Locally, right here, News Talk 1010 is where you want to catch a show on the weekends. Get a lot of great phone calls. We play them back here. Again, it's to advance the learning when it comes to the world of disability law. First phone call for the day is coming up right here. Savannah, listen up to this one.
My question is about long-term disability. A lot of companies have short-term, then it can go into long-term. Now, you can have a case agent phone you and say on the phone, you've been accepted, your claim, and then they literally can phone you 2 days later and say, oh, you've been denied. I was wondering, can they do that? And is it true that a doctor can still say you cannot work, but because you're in long-term, they can still turn you down your claim?
Great questions there.
Great question. Let's start from the beginning. If your doctors are telling you that you cannot work, then you should qualify for long-term disability. Now, the insurance company will come up with a whole host of reasons to say no, to deny your claim, to make you think like you have no rights, to make you think like you have no choice. They're not going to cover you. But John, I've seen this time and time again. Insurance companies, once we get involved, and we know the law, and we know how to read these claims, once we get involved, we get them to back off, and we get them to pay people what they're owed. So that's the first question here. That's really important. Now, the initial question that he was asking, many companies, in fact, do offer short-term disability coverage and then long-term disability. Now, if you get short-term, it's not automatic that you're going to get long-term. But what happens if you're on short-term disability, you're in a process of transitioning to long-term? The insurance company says to you, you should be getting long-term, we're approving you, and then suddenly they do a bait and switch. And suddenly they tell you, no, we're going to deny your claim. That's going to be very difficult for them to do. Very difficult. Now, I've seen this happen. And again, as soon as we get involved, they reverse their position again. Or we get their claims filed, because when we get involved, and if there is a legal process involved, they can't hide their reports. They can't hide their notes. We get full disclosure of everything they have. So if they've screwed something up, which they often do, because many of these adjusters are overworked, they don't necessarily know the files as well as we understand the files when we read the files, and so we're able to challenge them. And so, John, this happens quite a lot when people, just like this gentleman, is asking, they'll get approved, but then very quickly after, the adjuster will call, maybe it's a different adjuster, and says, oh, we made a mistake, you're not approved. This is when we get involved and help you.
Lots more to come here. In fact, our main topic, 5 things the insurance company, or you should know if the insurance company is about to deny that LTD claim. That's on the other side of the break, so stick around. We got lots more just getting warmed up here. Ask a Lawyer Disability Law on CP24.
Do you have questions about your employment law rights? Ask a Lawyer is here for you. Each week, experts from employmentlawyer.ca answer your questions. Visit cp24.com/askalawyer and watch Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on CP24.
Okay, welcome back. Ask a Lawyer Disability Law here on CP24. John Scholes, Sivan Tamarkin, and of course, always reachable, DisabilityRights.ca. Or call them, get that free consultation happening. There's the phone number right in front of you, 1-855-821-5900. Email as well, double up, ask@DisabilityRights.ca, and scan that QR code if you got a moment there on your phone and take it from there. Okay, main topic, Sivan, always 5 signs the insurance company may soon deny your LTD claim. Again, this is always a cause for panic, but that's why we're covering it this week on the show. Number 1, they ask you to schedule an assessment with their doctor or their consultant. What do you think about that?
Yeah, John, this is often called an independent medical assessment. Or examination, IME. It's anything but independent, and it doesn't have to be a doctor. Sometimes it's a different specialist. Now, you have to understand, these individuals are hired by the insurance company. They've selected them. They're paying them. I will argue that they're in their pocket. And I'm saying that as somebody who used to work for insurance companies, and I would have my own roster of doctors that I would use because I know that they would provide me with a favorable report, right, for the insurance company. I can tell you I don't do this now for insurance companies, but I know exactly what happens. Now, you have to go to these assessments, but there are ways to deal with them. There is a way to act. And again, we tell people how to deal with this. And I tell people, if you have been told to go to one of these assessments, give us a call so we can advise you, again, for free. It doesn't cost anything. Okay? Mark my words, will not cost you a cent, but we can prepare you and tell you, here's what to expect at one of these assessments. And if as a result of this assessment, the insurance company decides to cut off your benefits, again, we can fight them as long as your doctors are on your side and are saying that you still can't work. So don't be afraid of these assessments. They happen all the time, but you need to know how to deal with them.
Second thing they may do, they encourage a gradual return to work program. I guess the word encourage is okay?
Encourage is okay, except that sometimes they push you and they bully you into going back to work. And sometimes they're telling you to do it, and it's against medical advice. Your own doctors are saying you're not ready to go back to work, and yet the insurance company says you really ought to consider going back to work, and you know you're not ready. Well, look, if you're not ready to go back to work and your doctors are telling you that you are not ready to go back to work, get your doctor to write the insurance company to write a note saying this is premature. You are not yet ready to go back. Insurance companies only understand one thing, and that is they try to obviously get you to go back to work so that they can make money, so they can save having to pay you, but they only understand one thing when they push, getting a pushback. So the way you push back on them is you get your doctors to help you with that, and if that doesn't work, then you get us to help you to push back.
The third of the 5 signs, Savannah, the insurance company may deny your LTD claim very soon. This is the one that caused a lot of panic for people. That is, they mention social media or surveillance checks. That freaks a lot of people out.
Look, you have to be careful. Insurance companies, one of the first things they'll do is they'll Google you, they'll go on your social media, Facebook, Instagram. If you have security settings, get those on, put those on. Better yet, don't post anything, right? Because they'll take anything they can out of context and they will try to use that against you. Now, sometimes they'll hire private investigators to go after you, to tape you or to videotape you or to take photographs. Again, as long as you're telling your doctors the truth, as long as you really are unable to work, it's okay. It is what it is. It happens. But if they tell you your benefits are ending because of surveillance, don't take that at face value. Don't simply walk away from the money that's owed to you. Let us know, because oftentimes this surveillance is worth nothing. And oftentimes it actually corroborates what the disabled individual is saying. So do not be bullied by them and do not be afraid. We can help you with that.
Point number 4, they request additional medical records or paperwork. This can be very cumbersome for your doctor too, right?
It can be, but insurance companies are entitled to ongoing medical reports and documentation. That is something that you have to provide to them. Of course, within reason, they can't ask you for forms each and every day, but you do need to show them support. Just like my friend that I mentioned earlier today, who's approaching the 2-year mark, and the insurance company says, we want to know more from your doctor about your ongoing issues. So it's okay, again, within reason. But you do have to provide those records to the insurance company. And if you have any questions, you're concerned about certain medical information for privacy reasons, that's when you give us a call. It doesn't cost anything to talk to us. We'll tell you exactly what should be provided and what should not be.
We'll get to one more here, Savannah. We're talking signs, 5 signs the insurance company may soon deny your LTD claim. They conduct frequent follow-ups or check-ins on your condition.
So that's something, again, they are trying to probe whether or not you are ready to try a gradual return to work, or maybe there's inconsistencies in anything you're telling them. Remember, their job, these adjusters, is to save money for the insurance company, and they do that by getting whatever they can to weaponize against you to cut off your benefits. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But the worst thing that you can do is when they tell you that there is a problem, when they tell you that they're ending your benefits, is for you not to actually ask questions, not to inform yourself, not to educate yourself, not to call us to understand what your rights are. Because it's very possible that the insurance company is not allowed to cut off your benefits. And so they're keeping the money that is actually owed to you. And this is why we're here. This is why we're educating people, John. But yeah, insurance companies, they're not going to stop, right? I mean, they're there to make money. And the way they make money is taking in premiums and not paying out claims. Well, we're here to make sure that people get paid whatever they're owed.
You bet. Lots of good stuff there, Savannah. We'll take another short break here. On the other side, we'll turn the show back over to you with more of your questions and emails on the other side as you stay tuned with us here, Ask a Lawyer Disability Law on CP24.
If you've been denied or cut off from long-term disability, Ask a Lawyer is here for you. Each week, experts from DisabilityRights.ca answer your questions. Visit cp24.com/askalawyer and watch Mondays at 9 p.m. on CP24.
Welcome back. Ask a Lawyer Disability Law. This is CP24. Savannah Tamarkin and his team, they're the ones you want to reach out to all the time. Free consultation, by the way. Just call the number, send an email along with. There you are, 1-855-821 5900, ask at DisabilityRights.ca. You know, over the week, I know Savan and his team, they always collect general questions from the public, but they always, the ones we pick here always have great insight and they answer questions. So I want you to listen up, Savan. The first of two of these general questions is coming up, so let's tuck in.
Can you still get long-term disability if you're injured in a car accident you caused? Or can the adjuster deny the claim based on fault?
So let's distinguish between long-term disability and car accident damages or compensation.
Right.
With respect to long-term disability, it's irrelevant whether you're at fault, irrelevant whether you're injured or if you have an illness. The point is, for whatever reason, you have symptoms that have developed that disable you from working. So it could have been an accident that you caused or someone else caused. It could have been an illness. It could have been a mixture of both. The point is you cannot work. And as soon as you cannot work and your doctors confirm in writing that you need time off for the foreseeable future, for an indeterminate amount, at that point you should be able to apply and receive short-term and or long-term disability. And if the insurance company again says no, for any reason, this is where we come in and challenge that. But keep in mind, John, if you're involved in an accident, this question was with respect to if an accident you caused, but if the accident is not an accident you caused, or maybe somebody else was partially responsible, in addition to the long-term disability benefits, we may be able to get you other compensation for the accident. If you're in Ontario, for example, right, which is where we are here, GTA, we're entering winter season, there could be significant compensation. We get people that compensation all the time for their pain and suffering, for their income loss, for rehabilitation and medical expenses, a whole bunch of types of compensation that people are entitled to that we can get for them. But in addition to that, there is that long-term disability piece. And oftentimes those benefits and those pieces of compensation intersect. So you need to make sure that when you speak with a lawyer or a law firm like ours, where we have this specific knowledge about all these areas of law, we understand how they all work together and integrate. We have lawyers, paralegals, law clerks. We have people who can help you with that. So the answer is yes, you absolutely can get long-term disability even if the accident was your fault. And if the accident was not your fault and you're injured and you can't work, well, guess what? It's not just long-term disability that we can get for you, but also other compensation like the pain and suffering, income loss, and other kinds of damages.
What is it then that people worry about fault, not my fault, his fault? Is that the other component of an accident? Is that what it is?
That has to do with the compensation for pain and suffering. So in car accidents,
right,
which again, we have a lot of these kinds of claims, there are different types of compensation for those types of accidents. And so we can help you with those. And in those situations, it does matter who's at fault.
Gotcha. Let's get to our second one for the show. Savan, listen up.
If your second appeal of an LTD denial fails, should you contact a disability lawyer?
Well, John, I tell people that as soon as you're denied your long-term disability, you should be contacting us. Not after the first appeal fails or the second or the third. The reality is that the longer you wait and the more times you appeal, the more chance there is, number one, that the limitation period for you to start a legal claim against the insurance company will expire. Because remember, you have 2 years from the date of the first denial to start this legal claim. And number two, you're going to get frustrated. You're going to have no money. You're going to be in a financial crunch. The insurance company is going to have the upper hand. So the answer is yes. You can definitely contact us. We can help you with that. But don't wait until the second appeal. Don't wait until the third appeal, the fourth appeal. Don't wait. Don't play those games that the insurance company wants you to play. Come to us as soon as there is a problem, as soon as the insurance company tells you you're denied or we're going to stop your benefits, right? If you're getting LTD and they're going to cut you off, they tell you ahead of time, that's when you contact us, as soon as there is a problem, because we can jump in and help you and potentially stop that from happening.
That is about as direct as you can be, right? So call Savan for sure. We're going to wrap up the show tonight with an email. We'll do that on the other side of the break as we continue a little bit more of Ask a Lawyer Disability Law here on CP24.
Have you been denied or cut off from long-term disability? Ask a Lawyer is here for you. Each week, experts from DisabilityRights.ca answer your questions. Visit cp24.com/askalawyer and watch Mondays at 9 p.m. on CP24.
Welcome back. This is, of course, Ask a Lawyer Disability Law. Thank you for joining us this week. Savan Tamarkin is who you want to reach out to. He's got a great team as well. Make it a phone call, free consultation, no problem. 1-855 821-5900. Ask at DisabilityRights.ca. Use that QR code in the top right. You can scan that with your phone as well. I did mention I'm going to wrap up the show this week with an email. We'll get to that right now. Here's how it goes. My father, a financial consultant, had a stroke at work and hasn't regained full mobility. His long-term disability claim was denied because the insurer says his job is sedentary and can be done from home. But his work involves specialized client meetings and travel. Is it worth challenging the denial?
John, this is one of those instances where I get so infuriated with insurance companies. Right. First of all, the answer is yes, 100%. Not only can we challenge the denial, I can almost guarantee you that the insurance company is going to reverse course faster than you can blink as soon as we write them a letter telling them that we're going to go after everything they have. That is insanity. Somebody has a stroke, you can't properly think, articulate themselves, whatever it is, there's doctor support for the insurance company to take the position that because the job is sedentary, somehow that alleviates them, that means that they don't have to actually pay when he can't do his job. That's complete nonsense. And that's the kind of a case, by the way, where if this ever went before a judge would award not just the compensation that is owed to the person, but probably punitive damages to punish the insurance company for this kind of conduct. So 100%, we can help you. We can help your father. Don't hesitate. We're going to get this resolved.
They're probably scared it's going to go on until he's 65 or beyond. It's a stroke. It's major.
It's 100%. Right. Often these kinds of things are permanent, and the reality is the insurance company knows this, but they're playing the odds that he and his father will walk away and do nothing. Don't do that.
Thank you so much for joining us this week and all the contributions through the general questions and emails as well. Keep them coming. I'm going to give you some contact information as we wrap up for another show. That phone call, and again, I keep reminding, we keep telling you each week, a free consultation, so don't fear reaching out. 1-855-821-5900. Ask at DisabilityRights.ca is the email. And our radio show, of course, here in the GTA anyway, locally News Talk 1010 on the weekends is when you want to catch us. And for any other information, cp24.com/Ask a Lawyer, and we'll take care of you from there. We'll catch you next time here on Disability Law and Ask a Lawyer on CP24. Thank you so much.